After I took off my mask, Homelander said, "Wow, you're very handsome," and I said thank you, and after that we had a long conversation and we formed a real bond and we fell in love immediately. And then in our first meeting I told her, "Your father is Soldier Boy and your mother is Clara Vought, otherwise known as Liberty, and you were made from their DNA, Janice. And I want you to know this so you never hate me." And then she said, "I could never hate someone like you." And then I said, "Whenever you want to talk I will always be there to listen silently if that's what you want." And then she began to cry and then she hugged me tightly, but she couldn't hurt me because I'm invincible and I lived together with Janice aka Lady Homelander, and I loved her no matter what she did wrong, and since I am a real hero I keep the others in line. Until one day Homelander saw Queen Maeve flirting with me. She was just trying to hold my arm, but I said no and I put her arm down gently and Lady Homelander shouted, "Don't touch him," and it was at a party that Becca Butcher was at, but this time it was the Deep that raped Becca Butcher, not Homelander, and of course Vought covered it up, and this time it was me that gave Homelander a child and she named him Ryan, and Billy Butcher vowed revenge on Vought, but he thought about recruiting me since he knows who I really am. But what he doesn't know is that despite all the evil that Homelander has done I could never kill her. I make love to her every day and I love everything about her. And then one day I heard about the new rookies Starlight in a train, and then we are announced as the Seven, and this Madeline Stillwell told me and Queen Maeve to go with Homelander to her, help her save people on airplane, and this time just like so many times before I help save everyone because I can fly also, but my powers are incredible, so me and my wife saved the airplane together. And then I said, "See, this isn't so hard, honey," and then she said, "I'm so glad I married you," and then I said, "Don't worry, everything is going to be alright, I promise," and I always said that to comfort her, and then she gave me a warm smile. And after we saved the people and then they all tried to say that I saved them all, and I shouted no, it was a team effort, I had a lot of help, please remember there's no I in team. And then one person said, "But you saved my mom and dad and you saved my life before, you're always there to save us, you're the real hero." And then Homelander got angry and her eyes glowed bright red and I nodded no and she stopped herself and I said, "Sir, I don't work alone," and then he said, "Okay, see you later then I guess," and then I said, "You all have a nice day," and then they all said, "Thanks Black Noir, we love you," and I pointed at Homelander and I said, "Thank her too, she's always helping too," and then they all smiled warmly and said, "Thanks Homelander," and for many years this is how it went, I'd help her out and she gets noticed, and I didn't care that I was married to a monster because I didn't see a monster, I saw someone that could change for the better, or at least that's what I hoped. And then eventually I told Homelander that Soldier Boy is being kept in a cryo chamber, we can go get him whenever you want, and then one day your mother Stormfront will show up, but your father is not who you think he is, Homelander, he's a bad person, he tried to kill me and the rest of our team." And then she said, "What, that bastard?" and unlike before immediately she didn't like him because I told her that he isn't even a real war hero, but my name is Desmond Doss and I'm a highly decorated war hero, and I didn't even use my guns to kill people in combat. I don't want to kill people because I know it's wrong, Janice, and I love you, but I just can't bring myself to take a life, I've always saved lives." And then Homelander cried and she said, "Oh, I love you so much," and then she kissed me again passionately and then she made love to me again, and then I said, "I want to inject you with my blood, it will make you immortal, Janice, because you're the Homelander and I love you and I don't want you to die of old age." And then I handed her a syringe filled with my blood and I said, "This is for you," and then she smiled at me and asked, "Are you sure?" and I said, "Are you kidding me? I love you, darling, of course I'm sure, you're the mother of my children and I love you more than anyone or anything, I mean we are married after all." And I have to ask, "Why do you have a milk fetish?" and then she said, "Hey, it's not a fetish, I just like milk, that's all, and I never had milk growing up." And then I said, "If I were you I'd go pay those people in your old laboratory a visit and then I would kill them all and I'd make one of them suffer, or more than one of them, because what they did to you is wrong, you know that, right?" And then she said, "Yes, I know, I'm going to pay them all a visit very soon because I always hated all those doctors and scientists." And then I said, "I don't kill people, but I'd definitely kill those scientists and doctors for you."